Hey, Laura J. Home after 3 beautiful days at Soulshine Festival number 2. Wow. I don't even have words to express how I feel right now other than drained and full simultaneously, which is where I wanted to put in message for day 5 of our common law claims and capacity series, which is to say that being in charge and being in control of our energy makes a huge difference. I'm going to shut the door because my grandpa has noise on that I don't want to interfere with what we're doing here. And that is where I say, draw near the fire, my friends, for it is the fire of the heart where the passion starts. And that is where we actually catch the buzz. We feel it and actually become in charge of our energy when we are able to activate passion because it is contagious. Compared to trying to control our energy or control our emotions, which are so uncomfortable. Our emotions, especially the heavier ones, the lower level ones within the high rise of emotional awareness, are so uncomfortable. And they've never received acceptance before, and so we try to control them and keep them down so that, we're up to here already with them, and we don't want them to just go that little bit further, and we don't certainly know how to actually heal them, so it's just go down, get out of here. I don't want you. Think about the momentums that come with the moment of now when all energy and motion shows up to move. Emotions are energies in motion. And in the past, when we didn't know what to do with it, alas, we shoved it down, suppressed, compressed, depressed, repressed, somehow tried to press it down and say it isn't here and need not clear because the charge is already done and over with, and now we've got to pay for it. Years ago, I got trained in a modality called Soul Realignment, which is accessing the Akashic records to know who you are on a soul level and characteristics of it using her modality. And I took many other courses from her, and this weekend at Soulshine, I realized that modality is the model I tied my identity to in order to know the ledge that someone else knew, and then came true for me because I followed their guide. When all along our emotions were trying to hide the soul song within me that would allow me to bring forward the modality that others would be able to use as the authority of our own lives, for that is the author I tie my identity to now, that I know who and whose I am without a guide to follow, for I see that the life sentence or death sentence, the commonality is in the sentence, which is then when we go back to the fact that words are spelled because they are spells we cast that either set us free or keep us in captivity. So alas, I go back to what I wish to share with you from Andrea's work, where I flew to Sedona for a conference of hers back in 2015 after I'd come back from England and this conference was happening, and I went even though it didn't make sense, except for I felt that it needed to happen, and this was the takeaway that is so relevant to today. Imagine a line, and you have 4 spectrums or 4 points on it. 2 in the middle are the functional spectrum, 2 on the outside are the dysfunctional perspective. Inside you have constraint and freedom, for we cannot have freedom if we do not have boundaries. When we have porous boundaries, we generally find us not to be free, for we overcommit, which then sends us into obligation of paying for that which we spent irresponsibly, which leads us into the outer spectrum of the same line. Functional and dysfunctional are very similar, but not the same. Constraint and obligation are similar. Freedom and irresponsibility are similar. They feel similar. For For when we are irresponsible, we spend freely that which we do not actually have command over. It is not ours to spend, which then sends us into obligation of paying for that which we spent irresponsibly. Constraint and freedom, on the other hand, are where we land in the moment, where we say, I am free. And I also know that I have a boundary that must be respected in order for me to stay within the functional spectrum of creation, lest I go into the reactive space of irresponsibility and obligation, and bouncing between those, feeling free and constrained irresponsibly. So Andrea taught me that, and now I apply that to where we are en masse and say, alas, that being free and having freedom are not the same either. For freedom is the free domain that we claim, that can be taken away or given to us based on someone's frame of reference, compared to being free, where I feel it in me that I am free, and then am able to have charge of myself because I see the CELL-F of the cells in me that either choose to be free because of the faith that I have in me, compared to fear, which is the false emotion appearing real. So I hope that that is able to land, and maybe listen back a couple times to feel how true it feels for you. For just because it is my BS and another's also, does not mean it need be yours if it does not feel resonant, which is where truth is able to be felt. For truth is vibrational. We feel it in our heart, not our head. Our mind is where we go to try to reorder things and make them make sense when we actually step into the moment and use the vessel that transports our soul through this life. We find, this was a takeaway one of my fabulous Soulshine friends shared with me, in that because earth and heart are spelt the same, we must marry the intuition, the third eye, with the heart. And then we start to see that the heart is the I to the inner earth of me, for me, and ye for you. But who is you? For it is plural. Did you know, within the course, within the legal fiction, you must ask, who is you? For if someone claims that you did this to me, who is you and who is me? These are simple, but not always easy things to comprehend if we do not ask the question that helps us be king of our own domain. For when we claim the right to be in charge instead of control, trolling for that which would be the con for our consciousness sent when the consent was given over us to something outside of us to be in command of us, control, compared to in charge. Someone can make a charge on my account, but if I do not account for that charge made against my card, then I am responsible for it, yes? Well, if we actually know how to get back to correcting false charges, false allegations, accusations, complaints, then we can truly create as kings and queens within our own selves. For the soul throne is where we must call ourselves back present to the present now. And while this may not seem to be so commonly related to the lie of common law, which is not to say common law is the lie, but when it's capitalized or hyphenated, that is written and limited compared to the common law, which is the common ground we stand on. And we'll get into that more. But if we are knocked into a not now, we are in our mind, not our heart. And that is where we start. So peace out for today, or should I say, peace in Namaste.